In the heart of Lagos, hidden among bustling streets and towering buildings, existed a secret society that had thrived for centuries, the Brotherhood of the Black Sun. It was said that this clandestine organization had roots reaching back to the colonial days, forged from whispers, oaths, and shadows. Despite the rapid growth and modernization of Nigeria, the Brotherhood's influence endured, buried beneath layers of society, entwined with government, businesses, and some of the country's wealthiest families. People in Lagos knew of the Brotherhood, though few would dare speak its name openly. It was known that those who rose to power, accumulating unimaginable wealth and influence, often had ties to this dark group. While its rituals were hidden, its impact was felt everywhere, in politics, business, and even in the neighborhoods where sudden prosperity and inexplicable disappearances marked its presence. The Brotherhood's members were powerful men and women, handpicked for their ambition and hunger for success. Initiation into the society required them to perform dark rituals that sealed their loyalty and souls to the group. In return, the Brotherhood promised them wealth, power, and the fulfillment of their deepest desires, but at a steep cost. To join the Brotherhood, a candidate would undergo the rite of the Black Sun, a ritual held deep within an underground chamber beneath an abandoned mansion on the outskirts of Lagos. Inside this hidden chamber, walls covered in ancient symbols glowed faintly in candlelight. At the center lay a large stone altar, blackened with stains that whispered of countless sacrifices. New initiates, dressed in long, dark robes, would stand before the high priest, who wore an elaborate mask carved with symbols of power and dominion. The high priest's voice would echo through the chamber, filled with an ancient authority that sent chills down the spine. "Tonight, you pledge your soul," he would say, his voice cold and unyielding. "In exchange, the Brotherhood of the Black Sun shall grant you wealth, influence, and power beyond your imagination. But know this, once you enter, there is no leaving. You will belong to the Brotherhood, and your life will no longer be your own." The initiate would be asked to make a blood offering, cutting their palm and letting their blood drip onto the stone altar. Then, they would drink from a cup filled with a dark, mysterious liquid said to bind their spirits to the Brotherhood. The liquid was rumored to be a mixture of herbs, animal blood, and the ashes of past members who had fallen from favor. As they drank, a strange numbness would wash over them, and they would feel their will slipping away, replaced by a sense of belonging and loyalty to the Brotherhood alone. In return for this loyalty, members received incredible wealth, protection from enemies, and powerful allies. They were given businesses, political positions, and influence that seemed to grow effortlessly, as if guided by invisible hands. But the Brotherhood's favors came with obligations, and these obligations grew darker over time. Every full moon, the Brotherhood held a gathering called the Night of the Black Sun, where all members would meet to renew their oaths and offer sacrifices. For those new to the society, the sacrifices began small, animals or offerings of personal belongings. But as they rose through the ranks, they were required to sacrifice something more precious. One member, Chief Obinna, a businessman whose wealth and power seemed to appear overnight, had paid his dues to the Brotherhood with more than just animals. When he first joined, he had sacrificed a prized possession, then a beloved pet. But with each promotion in the Brotherhood's hierarchy, the sacrifices demanded more of him. Eventually, he was asked to give his son, a boy of only 7, to the Brotherhood. Torn between his love for his child and the lure of power, Chief Obinna hesitated. But as he tried to back out, he received a visit from the high priest and a group of masked members. They reminded him of his oath and warned him of the consequences of disloyalty. Left with no choice, Obinna surrendered his son. That night, as his son's life was taken before him, Obinna felt his heart grow cold, his humanity slipping away. The next day, his wealth and influence doubled, yet a darkness weighed upon him, one he could never escape. The Brotherhood's true source of power came from a pact with a dark, demonic entity known as Ekpo. According to legend, Ekpo had been summoned by the Brotherhood's founders centuries ago, and in exchange for worship and regular sacrifices, he bestowed his followers with supernatural influence over others, financial prosperity, and protection from harm. Once every year, on the anniversary of the Brotherhood's founding, a grand ceremony was held to honor Ekpo. The high priest would stand before the members, who gathered in a wide circle around a roaring bonfire, chanting ancient words that had been passed down through the Brotherhood's generations. Each member would be asked to kneel before the high priest and renounce their personal desires, pledging their lives to Ekpo's service. During this ceremony, Ekpo would appear, a dark, towering figure cloaked in shadows, his eyes gleaming with a cruel intelligence. He would move through the gathering, inspecting each member, his presence filling them with a terrible fear and awe. In his voice, a sound like rustling leaves mixed with a growling undertone, he would command them to obey his will and carry out his plans in the human world. Those who proved loyal were rewarded, but those who hesitated were punished, their lives often ending in sudden, inexplicable accidents. Leaving the Brotherhood was impossible. Those who attempted to escape or betray the group would face terrifying consequences. One such man, Adekunle, a former politician, had grown tired of the Brotherhood's dark influence and the toll it had taken on his family. He tried to flee the country, but on the night of his departure, he was found dead in his car, his face frozen in a look of unspeakable horror. Rumor had it that Ekpo had visited him in his final moments, dragging his soul to a place from which there was no return. One day, a young woman named Amaka joined the Brotherhood, drawn by the promise of wealth to help her struggling family. But unlike others, Amaka quickly realized the full extent of the Brotherhood's evil. She witnessed the ceremonies, the sacrifices, and the terrible hold that Ekpo had over the members. Determined to escape the group, she spent months researching ancient texts and seeking help from spiritual leaders outside the Brotherhood. Eventually, she discovered a ritual that could sever her ties to Ekpo, though it required immense courage and the strength of her spirit. Late one night, Amaka went to the river where the Brotherhood held many of their ceremonies, armed with nothing but her faith and a few sacred items she had collected. There, under the light of a full moon, she began the ritual, praying for protection and renouncing her allegiance to Ekpo. As she chanted, a darkness enveloped her, and the ground beneath her seemed to tremble. She felt Ekpo's presence, cold and suffocating, and heard his voice echoing in her mind, promising her wealth if she would abandon her ritual. But Amaka remained resolute, and as she finished the final words, a blinding light enveloped her, breaking Ekpo's hold. Amaka returned to her family, and though she lost her wealth and influence, she found peace. She went on to warn others about the Brotherhood, though few dared to listen. The Brotherhood of the Black Sun remained in Lagos, hidden in plain sight, its members bound by fear, ambition, and the promise of power. But Amaka's story was a small flame of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest places, the chains of evil could be broken. The Brotherhood's hold over its members might be strong, but for those who dared, there was always a way to break free. And perhaps, one day, others would find the courage to follow her path, challenging the power of the Black Sun and the darkness that lurked behind it.